Welcome to episode 7 of the Last Pack podcast. I'm Matt here with my co-host Joel. No, we're not cutting that out. What's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Did I catch you off guard there or what?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna clap to start, but
oh well, we didn't. So yes, we're back with episode 7. This week we're going to get into some industry topics. The industry summit is going on, some new product releases, and then we're going to talk about just kind of what we've been up to in the hobby this past week. Joel, why don't you kick us off? What's been on your mind, and what have you been doing so far this week?
A couple things. So I went to a card show this past weekend, really quick, just kind of in and out. In and out to me is like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and
not in and out.
I guess fine.
Yeah, you tell your wife it's in and out, and she's like,
yeah, she knows.
You were gone for like 2 hours, man.
At least that's just the time I was at the show. But anyway, then I sold my first item through PWCC weekly auctions. So it was the first time I actually ran an open auction to them. So that was an interesting experience. And got the chance to rip again. So a few things going on for me.
Cool. Yeah, for me, it's been kind of quiet. I think a lot of people are going through a little bit of a quiet time right now. I didn't attend any shows this week, and just been like trying to list stuff on eBay. Been kind of spending a little bit more time doing like small flips on ComC, just more out of like just fun and kind of searching. I don't really have any sophisticated ways that I do the searching, but I'm not going to give away my tips either. But it's just kind of fun. It can be useful, I'll say, with new product. So one thing that I had been focusing on was like Topps Chrome baseball starting to get loaded. And when it's that new product and there's like none loaded yet, if you can believe you can grab something that's new inventory that there's no inventory of yet and quickly flip it, can be kind of fun. So aside from that, though, I got some stuff in from Golden. And I got a PSA value sub back from the collector's special. I got that in the mail today. So
yeah. I don't know. That sounds like a lot going on for a guy that didn't think he had a lot going on in cards.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, overall, I mean, eBay has been kind of slow as far as sales go. But yeah, that's about it. Tell me about your, what's your show experience? How was it?
It was mediocre. I mean, I feel that the crowd was pretty thin. I think football, especially when football first starts up, you have this window of time at a show where it seems to be a strong crowd, which I think many can surmise would be right before football. I think this week was a little strange because we had the London game going on as well. Not that the Vikings Saints was extremely interesting by any means, but it did seem generally that attendance was kind of down a little bit. I still managed to make some sales, managed to walk around, and there was one card I was interested in, and I saw a Hertz Obsidian autograph, and I just find myself at shows sometimes like settling for these kind of like, you want like a contenders, you want like a treasures, you want the mainstays, right? But then you go to a show and like when it feels like famine, you're like all of a sudden reach deep. I mean, not that Obsidian's bad by any means, but I find myself reaching deeper and I make decisions that I'm not pleased with. So this one I kind of held my ground. I wasn't happy with the deal and I backed off the card at the end. So I guess I feel good that I backed off on Hertz, even though I really do want a nice Hertz because I'm just feeling that I want that.
Just feeling the FOMO, just buying
yeah, total FOMO. Him and Lamar Jackson, and I feel at least with Lamar Jackson, maybe he's got to wait a little bit. Maybe this week I have a good chance to pick something up while he had a couple bad losses or kind of close call losses,
Yeah.
So being 2-2 and Daniel Jones at 3-1, I mean, I think we know how the season's going.
Yeah, there's some odd stuff going on just in all those QB markets. The fact that the Bears played the Giants and one of those quarterbacks had to come out of it 3-1. Don't let the record fool you.
I don't know. I just love, for me, it's vindication. Before on our episode when I talked about Daniel Jones and just the fact that his speed, he has that just speed that you just unassuming speed out of him, where he can get way faster than you expected. And the thing that came out of the highlight from last year, or the low light, was him tripping and falling when he just took off like a bullet. And guess what he did? He scored 2 touchdowns on the ground. I think one was 20 yards out, and the other was about 8 yards out. Albeit, I'd like to see him do more with his arm, but it seems like that's not this Giants team right now.
Doesn't sell football cards. Yeah. 76. He had 76 passing yards. I'm pretty sure.
That's rough. And also, he got hurt, so I think he went out, and Tyrod Taylor went out. And so and then Saquon at QB. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So Daniel Jones' trend could be over, but I still hold to, hey, he did what I was hoping to start the season to some level.
Yeah, for sure. And back to your Hurts thing though. He seems like the one guy for the young guys that's gonna kind of hold or increase his value if they keep this up, because from what I've read, the Eagles have a pretty easy schedule going forward as well, and the team just like solid all the way around. So he's in a good position, and that division kind of stinks. I don't know how the Cowboys have done as well as they have, but just not a lot of strength there. So I think the Eagles look like a team that could go out and win 13 or 14 games and be one of the top dogs. So we will see. But aside from that, you said you got back to ripping a little bit. What product did you get to rip?
Well, I just got in some of that MLB Topps Chrome Logofractor. I know you were talking about how Topps Chrome this year is kind of rough, but this Logofractor product is actually pretty cool.
So what is it for people that have no idea what you're talking about?
Yeah, so there was this Topps Chrome product that Topps released in 2 places. It was released on the Topps.com website, and as well, it was released at the New York MLB shop, and that was it. Just those 2 places. So Topps had a lot of supply online, and it actually sold out in 2 days. And what you get in this product is 5 Topps Chrome packs, along with 2 5-card packs with these Logofractor cards. And it's funny, my first reaction when I saw this whole idea of Topps Chrome Logofractor was I thought it was gimmicky. But then you get some of these cards in hand, and you see this.
Shiny.
And there's just something about it that really stands out.
Yeah, so it's kind of got like the refractor look, but it's a patterned refractor foil with the kind of MLB logo man. Does have a really good shine to it. I agree.
Yeah, so I opened 2 boxes, and in the 5 Chrome packs of both, I got pretty much straight base, like nothing really special, not even a refractor. And this was a weird thing. The first box I opened, check this out. This is, look at the
crazy
bowing.
Bowed.
Yeah. The first pack, every pack was bowed. And the second box, like as I showed, just no issues at all.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting, something to look out for. You saw what the base Logofractor cards look like, but you also, one thing that's pretty neat is you actually get a parallel per pack as well. And to me, that's not something you typically get in retail. And these are numbered. So I hit like a pink. These are 1 and 4.
What are they numbered to?
This one is numbered to 199. So even the 1 and 4 are numbered to 199. The weird part is I hit this Patrick Wisdom purple, and this is considered 1 and 4 as well. And this is numbered to 250. So I don't understand how that works. Okay. But then they hit a Cabrian Hayes green. These are supposed to be like 1 and 8. This is pretty neat. And then I actually hit a gold, but it was a Starling Marte.
Womp womp.
Yeah, but these are numbered to 50 as you'd expect. But they look awesome, and I have a bunch more here that I'm really thinking about ripping.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna rip it. And what were they? $50 a box?
Yeah, $50 a box on the site plus tax.
So it's kind of like, it's almost like a mega box ish type format.
Yeah, I think it's mega box, but I think the fact that you actually get number cards in it makes it. I mean, how often do you get a chance at number cards that look this good?
Yeah. Well, and then the big chase too here is what was missing from the Topps Chrome stuff. You can get a Julio Rodriguez Topps Chrome foil fractor rookie card. Remains to be seen. I'm not sure if there's also a variation or if it's just that one style, but that definitely is the chase. I've seen some ridiculous early eBay sales for that card.
Yeah.
All of them look shilled pretty much. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And it remains to be seen what those actually settle at. And then just overall in his rookie card hierarchy, how that card's going to be received, because that's a whole nother conversation, but it's tricky where he had, the Series 2 SP as kind of a, flagship product in Top Series 2. He, wasn't in Chrome, but now he has these SPs. Then there's this foil fractor. So it'll just be interesting to see what kind of becomes the go-to for like a non-autograph type card of his for a rookie. But I will, I'll see where they settle, try to pick one of those up maybe in the off season, or once the Mariners, hopefully not, they're not eliminated, but once they're eventually eliminated. So,
yeah.
Okay, moving on. We are going to do a little bit more of a long conversation, hopefully next week, about NBA cards and the NBA landscape heading into the season. But we have seen some media day stuff last week. There's a lot more chatter about just the NBA in general. What have you seen over the last week, last few days that kind of has, put your signals up that is interesting, both from a NBA storyline, but also a card relevancy storyline? What are you thinking about after seeing just a few days of chatter?
Well, for me, number one, the first clip I saw was Wiseman, right? And so he had a nice dunk. It seemed like he's very mobile. And of course, this is just pure reaction time. So
oh yeah,
we see something, and to me, I checked out what are Wiseman cards doing, and guess what? Some of the cheaper ones are starting to get hit. Prices are going up a little bit. There's some movement there. So to me, that's a great sign in general for the hobby, just seeing at least people reacting to things, which is great. People showing that people are still thinking about cards as a vessel to kind of buy things that they want to be close to the player. That's number one. The second one that I saw right now is actually seeing Ben Simmons on the floor playing, and that's like happening as we speak. And him and Kyrie had a nice connection, or Kyrie passed it to Ben Simmons, and he got a nice dunk in the middle lane. And then I saw him put a nice pass to Claxton. So, and the funny thing to me was seeing that clips of Ben Simmons, I think in warmups, only took like 2 or 3 shots, and the rest of his warmups was passing the ball. So we'll see how that plays out.
And this is after he did a big podcast on JJ Redick's podcast a week ago that a lot of people are talking about. And he just, I don't know. On one hand, I want to feel bad for the guy, but then on the other hand, he still sounds like confident and like, oh no, I'm in control. I'm going to shoot this year. I can shoot. And it's like, really? I don't know. I'm not so sure. But yeah, the Wiseman stuff is definitely, I noticed it. I had mentioned to you, I had a Wiseman Prism card on eBay, and saw that highlight clip, and the next morning, bam, somebody just binned it. So apparently I was listed too low.
But don't you like, to me, that gives me like a sigh of relief to know that people are still thinking of cards as like a vessel to put their money, like in times when they feel like excited about a player.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Like those are the things that, give you a catalyst to give you the confidence that maybe there are certain segments of the basketball hobby that could see a jolt this year, because it feels like a lot of the air came out of NBA cards over the last year, and we missed a bit of that last year. That said, we both know it's overreaction season. So
that's great, though. I like seeing people overact a little bit just because it means they're having fun with it. I think part of it, what do you think this whole QB injury thing is doing to play into this? I could see some people kind of thinking of basketball as a safer move in general.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think part of the reason why football saw the big run up that it has over the last year and a half is because like the NBA, like we've talked about, the NBA just got so expensive for everything, and people naturally look around, okay, well, where's the value? And they go, oh, how come these NFL cards relative to NBA cards are so cheap? I'm going to go jump over there. And so they went over there, started hyping that up. Everything over there got run up. And then now you're seeing the fact that, especially in the NFL, it's pretty much the only cards that people really, really buy heavily and pay a lot for are quarterbacks. And ultimately, like once the season starts, there's only a handful of guys, not even a handful of guys that can even sustain value. And right now you have people investing in a dozen different quarterbacks and they're feeling the pain. So yeah, I could see that. People want to go back to a sport they feel like has a little bit less volatility, especially because football is just 17 games week to week. You have these like crazy swings, and in basketball, it's not quite as crazy.
So let's count off the QBs that have been hurt since preseason that people were putting a lot of money in. So Zach Wilson, number one, right?
He's back though.
Yeah, okay, so he's back and he played well. Or decent enough, right? Decent enough to create some hype. So, okay, what was injured number two? Let's think here.
So Zach Wilson, was it Trey Lance?
Trey Lance.
Yep.
Right. Then number three was
Mac Jones is injured now.
Yeah, so that was another one down.
Tua.
So then we had Tua. So let's think here. So the first one was 2021 rookie class. Zach Wilson. Second one was 2021 rookie class. Third one was 2021 rookie class. So Tua is 2020 rookie class. And then we had, don't forget, Daniel Jones just got hurt.
He did.
2019. So that's 2019. So far we had 3 2021 QBs that got dinged up.
And then you have other guys that have had scares. Herbert had a scare with his ribs.
2020.
And, yep. And then overall, you just have some of these young guys that don't look good at all. Justin Fields looks horrible. He's the second worst QBR in the league. Only Baker Mayfield is worse right now, and he does not look prepared to be anything close to a pocket passer in the NFL. And we can go down the list. There's plenty of other guys that aren't meeting the hobby's expectation, which the hobby's expectation is deep playoff run, people talking about you in the MVP conversation. And like I just said, that can only be a few people. So yeah, I don't know.
That being said, do we see Hurts growth here if he gets into this? Seems like people are already talking him in this conversation.
He's already, I was kind of looking at some of his lower to mid-end common stuff, especially this type of stuff that you would see a decline. And he's maintained pretty well. So I think he's one of the few exceptions right now. But yeah, the NBA though, I think it will take even more of that shine off of football.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think there's a lot of people like you and I that want to see a little bit more excitement in the NBA this year in terms of the card market. And there's a lot of good storylines. I feel like things are very open.
Yeah.
As far as odds go, I was just looking at odds. This is according to FanDuel. Celtics are the favorite right now, plus 600. Bucks plus 650. Nets, Clippers, Warriors at plus 700. Suns at plus 1,000.
I'm shocked by the Celtics with all the turmoil they've had recently.
Same. They've had a rough off season. And
they did get Blake Griffin though.
Yikes. Which, one of their guys that they got this offseason was a good role player, Gallinari, and he's hurt.
He got hurt, right?
Yeah, he's hurt. So, yeah, they've had a kind of a rocky few weeks. And then the Nets are just like such a wild card where they might not have Kyrie playing by, I don't know, Christmas. Ben Simmons, you have no idea what you're going to get. And then, KD's going to ball, but you're worried about just injury risk. And then the rest of the team, they don't really have much depth. So,
sure. They could be on fire, though, the first up until Christmas.
They could.
I feel like
they could. But you do not know what you're going to get.
I'm very excited about that. I'm excited to see. We've gotten a lot of these preseason pictures of Zion. We get to see that he truly is motivated, or at least he's saying all the right things. But you can see the difference in his body and his general demeanor. I mean, he looks excited about it. I think if he makes any noise, it's good for the hobby as a whole.
Yeah.
Just for him to be active, for him to be playing on the court and making a difference on a team that was honestly giving the Suns a tough time in the playoffs as it was without him. And I know there was a talks of him making the surprise appearance in Game 7 if they were to have gotten there. But hopefully this whole time where he's been kind of sitting on the sidelines healing, it pays off. And now that he's taken some of the weight off too, it's less pressure on his feet and his legs in general, his lower body. And we all get to see what we wanted to see out of him.
Yeah, I agree with that. And to close this out NBA conversation, I'm going to ask you who are the three most hyped young players, and by young I mean first 5 years of their NBA career, that you're seeing right now in the hobby? Not in any order.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to hear what yours is compared to mine.
Three most hyped.
Right
I mean,
now.
it's got to be Luka, Ja. Well, I guess Luka's on year 4, so is he out?
No, I said first 5 years.
First 5 years, okay. So
Yep.
Luka, Ja, and then Anthony Edwards. We're going to top 3, like as far as hype. But I think Zion is right there, but he hasn't really done anything to prove the hype.
Yeah. Well, I'm more saying like, who do you see people trying to pick up right now, or like?
Then Zion's definitely in the top 3.
Or
so
like
Zion,
who's showing a run up in interest and price? And
then Zion, Anthony Edwards, and the third. I can't think of who the third one is. I guess I'd have to say Ja.
I think my list is the same as yours, except I would switch out Ja for Luka. I think this is the year, and speaking of odds again, this is the year where the narrative is MVP expectation. And I think we know, especially in the NBA, that it feels like the MVP award is very narrative driven.
Yeah.
And it's
100%.
kind of like, this is Luka's year. It's his to show everybody like he's in shape. His team's going to be competitive. They actually won a playoff series last year. And yeah, I think still his high end market's still super strong. But yeah,
it's weekend. But I think that's one thing as far as cards go. I mean, are people actually picking up Luka cards? To me, I feel like his market's been pretty soft because of how expensive it was. But
Yep.
I think it being soft is a good time. I don't want to say good time to buy just because of the fact that, the market is overheated in general and people are kind of scared of what's going on right now. But I think of all guys, I think Luka is probably one of the guys I have the most faith in that's going to have a good long or a strong NBA career as long as he's able to play.
Yeah.
I hope it's long. And if it is long, I think he could be a record-breaking type of player.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, we're pretty much in the same place in that conversation. And like I said, we'll hopefully be talking a little bit more in depth about the card landscape next week.
But actually one guy who's hyped before we move forward,
Sure.
is LeBron. I know we're not talking about young guys, but LeBron breaking the scoring record this year is going to be a major storyline. I mean, this is like, I don't know how you could even question this. This is like, I think
all that stuff's priced in. I don't believe in that.
I'm not saying
cards.
It's not priced in. I'm just saying as purely from an NBA perspective.
Oh yeah,
it's a major storyline leading up to it. I think it's going to cause a lot of interest in the NBA in general. I don't know if it'll necessarily bring prices into LeBron, but I think maybe it'll just bring interest to the NBA as a whole. Just like this whole, we didn't even talk about baseball and Pujols breaking 700 and Aaron Judge and this piece. So it kind of has that same like touch. I find myself wanting to watch baseball. And guess what? I hate baseball.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I find myself being like, oh, maybe I'll tune in a little bit. I enjoy ripping it. Don't get me wrong, but not my favorite thing to watch. Yeah. But I think that might bring some people back to basketball that kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah, I think the NBA will be good at marketing it too. So they're pretty good at that compared to baseball. But moving on, we do have a few industry topics to talk about this week. One is the industry summit is ongoing right now in Las Vegas. So the industry summit, for a little bit of backstory, it's more of your traditional kind of trade show, but with kind of like panels and breakout sessions for people in the industry to come together, learn best practices, hear panels about things like social media marketing, your business, how to make your LCS more vibrant on the internet, how to design breaks, just things like that. So it's not necessarily the type of show where you think, oh, it's a card show. It's more of no, industry leaders coming together, companies showing off their products and showcasing things to one another, and a lot of networking is going on. That said, there was a card show that happened at the beginning of this weekend, but then this actually got started in earnest with the panels and discussions today, which we are recording on Monday. So it's definitely something that I've kept my eye on since I've gotten into the hobby, because usually news comes out of this and everybody is kind of just sitting and waiting, expecting that Fanatics is going to announce their acquisition of Panini at this conference. As of recording, we still haven't heard anything yet, but I don't know about you. What have you heard coming out of the people that are at the industry summit so far? Is there anything you're seeing on social media? Because me personally, I just haven't seen much buzz aside from those people expecting there to be some sort of an announcement about Panini being acquired by Fanatics.
Yeah, that's a big one. Big shooter that people are waiting to drop at this show. Main things I saw was around the Fanatics Authentic program, and basically how close they are to the game, that they're able to provide a lot of game use pieces and that whole network that they're going to be providing. But that's mainly what I've seen so far. One thing that's actually stood out to me was, as much as people in the hobby have kind of talked about how Beckett's losing foothold in the hobby in general, guess who runs the industry summit is Beckett. Their name's all over this thing.
Are they still like the title sponsor?
It's advertised as such. Yeah, really? I mean, as far as all the banners, it's still Beckett's event. So
I do know their CEO. I looked at the speakers and panels, and I know he's speaking at some point. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who really runs it, but I do know they used to have their name all over it, and I guess they still do.
Yeah.
But I mean, aside from that, I looked at all the panels, and yeah, there'd be some stuff that like I wouldn't mind listening to, like as background noise on YouTube, but nothing of particular interest to me. I think a lot of it is just people getting together and talking to one another and networking. But I think this year, it's so much of it is like everyone wants to interact with Fanatics and hear what Fanatics has to say, and everything else is just kind of secondary. But that's just kind of my take. But other than that, it doesn't seem super interesting to me. And the show that occurred prior to the actual event taking off today, I didn't see really anything about the show. And I do know there's another Las Vegas show that is actually at the end of this week that has happened a few times already. And it seems like that's, as an actual card show, has a lot more buzz. So yeah, there's really not much for me to say. I did see that Brian Gray's Anatomy of the Hobby 2.2 talk is going to be on the agenda. So hopefully somebody records that, because I always like to hear what he has to say.
He, as much as anyone gives him flack, to me, he is one of the most interesting guys in this hobby. Like, he just says what he's thinking. I mean, sometimes to his detriment.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think he's genuinely a collector at heart. And, I mean, does he have some questionable parts to him? I'm sure. But he's always been so good to me. I always enjoy talking to him. And I love listening to any review he does, or any kind of interview he does. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And I hope he gets hot. He gives some hot takes, because he's good for it.
He likes to talk. That's for sure.
Hey, but at least he's fairly eloquent, and he says it as it is. When he speaks, it's authentically Brian.
Yes, sure. But yeah, that's pretty much the only one that I want to hear for sure. And if there's any interesting Fanatics news, that would be great. But even if there is, hey, Fanatics is acquiring Panini, what details are we really going to get in an initial announcement? I'm not really sure. So seems like kind of a nothing burger. And Yeah, that's really all I have to say on that. What about you?
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, I think for me, I would love to hear the announcement and seeing some structure around how I'm ultimately thinking that Panini and Topps will just be run as separate entities, just with the overarching ownership of Fanatics, and they're just going to let them continue running because they're going to want it to make this seem like we have these multiple brands and all these
Right.
different product lines within the hobby. Maybe they get rid of some of the fluff in between, but we have some great long-standing products on both sides that can be um, kept going, and I think that's kind of neat. Um, I guess I'd love to see how Upper Deck can work in the fold and compete.
I hope they stay separate.
I guess the only reason I don't is just because I'd love to see them bring back the basketball license, even though, I think some people are conflicted because they like the rarity of Jordan and LeBron Pro stuff from the past. But I think I'd love to see Upper Deck get in the fold and see what they could do. I mean, I actually do like a lot of the designs that they brought into hockey over the past few years. And I would love to see like an Anthony Edwards, awesome, exquisite patch auto, something like that.
Yeah, I'm actually on the other side. I think I want some sort of competition, and I don't think Leafs delivering on that side. Not that they're trying to compete in that space, but no, I think Upper Deck staying separate would be a benefit in my opinion. And I'm one of those people that I kind of like Exquisite being old and special, and I don't want to see it rehashed. So we'll see. We don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. I guess to me, it's like there's no way that they can compete, period, because they have hockey and they have, well, I guess they have Marvel, which has been big for them over the
Yeah.
past couple of years. So
Yeah.
the thing is, they can't compete in those categories. I like what they do. I just love to see them bring some of those brands over, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's enough on the industry summit. Not much to say, but if we do get some interesting news out of it, we will talk about it next week. Moving on to new product releases, we really are digging deep here because it's not a lot of interesting stuff. And the stuff that is coming out that's like new football, 2022 rookies are personally not interesting to me. I don't really want to talk about Dunris Elite or whatever and Kenny Pickett. But I thought this product was interesting. So Panini this Thursday is releasing a 2021-22 NBA G League box set. Yes, I said G League. So if that's not interesting to you, then you can skip this next part. But it is a debut product. It is a box set, so it's a 180 card base set. You get 180 cards. You get 5 additional red parallels. Sounds like they're not numbered, but Panini also just didn't list any additional information about them. And then you get 5 random autos in the product. In addition to that, there's randomly inserted gold autos numbered to 10 and black 101 autos. And some of the names included in here. So you got LiAngelo Ball. That's a big one. Zaire Wade.
Oof.
Craig Randall the second, who I think was on the Australian team that just beat the Suns the other day. As well as Marjan Beauchamp, who I know was the Bucks' first round pick this year. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other guys in here that are somewhat relevant if you're into that kind of G League game and following those guys. But I don't know why this product just seems interesting to me. I think it'd be even more interesting if it wasn't a box set, but it is coming out on Thursday at $100, and we haven't talked about this at all. So I want to hear, what do you think just about this concept in general? Is it stupid? Am I trying to make something that shouldn't be a thing, or what?
I don't know. I know exactly why it's interesting to you. Is because there's 5 autos like of guys that could be in the NBA, and it's $100, and you got a whole set of cards that you can kind of sell through. To me, it's like, why not? Like, if you can get a box shoe, like whatever. Like, if what I lost more ripping probably these MLB Logofractor cards, right? Than that. And this, I'm guaranteed 5 autographs. And
Yep.
I mean, as crappy as LiAngelo Ball is, like, I really have no faith in him whatsoever. We'll see if I eat those words, but he had a nice air ball so far this season, this preseason. I mean, I guess there's always that hope. I remember at one point, Topps Chrome, I believe it was, I'm trying to think what year it was. I think it was like 05, 06 or 06, 07. They actually released some G League cards in that set mixed in with the NBA cards. And those actually did pretty decent back then. I think it was some of those. There was I can't remember the name of the player, but there was a player that came into the NBA, and then of course that Topps Chrome G League card ended up getting some heat. So guess what? I mean, one card that was kind of interesting to me last year was in Immaculate Collegiate Basketball. They had this Jalen Green logo man, but it was a G League logo man that was released in there. And I always, in my mind, I think one day is that going to be a significant card, even though the piece isn't game worn or etc. To me, I always think about that. Like in my head, could there ever be an angle where G League logo man is a thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Topps, the Overtime Elite thing, so they've released those products, and there have been some cards in there that have sold for more than I would have expected, and apparently there's more interest than I would have thought. And we just are so like new to those cards being a thing and these guys being such young prospects that I feel like if one of those guys that comes out of either the Overtime Elite product or a product like this were to break through, it would like really change the way people approach these type of products, because they are kind of their first cards, and you can kind of get into and you get into the discussion of like, well, Bowman baseball is super popular. It's their prospect cards that people get really, really interested and invested in. And of course, I'm not comparing the two because the timelines for MLB prospects and NBA prospects are very, very different. But I just could see that comparison becoming a thing. And maybe there is a day when all of a sudden some guy comes out of this G League product and becomes an NBA All-Star, and people are hunting his debut G League card.
Yeah,
you never know.
It will never be better than his mainstay Rookies Pro. But that, I think many people's hobby always get caught up in, it's not better than that, so I don't want it. But that doesn't mean it's not good.
Yep.
And that you didn't do well, and especially at $100 a box. Like I think there's a separation between getting the best card and getting a good card. And in this case, you can get a good card potentially.
Yeah, I mean, the way I'm thinking about it is you're getting 190 cards for $100 and
5 autographs.
You could spend money on worse things, I guess. If you have any interest in basketball or the G League, I feel like it's kind of appealing. But yeah, if you're just buying it simply off of pure speculation and you don't even want to learn about the players, maybe turn away from it. But
I mean, it could be fine. Just leave it sealed.
Yeah. I do wish, though, that it was like a normal box configuration. I think that would be more fun if there's more randomness to it. So
I think they don't have enough faith to sell random boxes at this point. They're like box sets. Maybe people do it because at least they get the setup guys.
Yes. Well, hopefully a checklist releases before the release on Thursday. Not getting my hopes up, Panini, but that would be great so I can see what I'm buying if I do decide to try a couple.
I mean, I think it's cool that there's Zaire Wade in there, though.
Yes.
Chance that Dwayne Wade's kid.
There's definitely some guys that I don't know about skill, but based off of their name alone, like LiAngelo Ball, we mentioned, I think there would be a lot of interest in those autographs. So anyway, it's $100. It releases on Thursday. Check it out. And they're not doing a Dutch auction or anything goofy like that. So seems like you could just buy one. And they've limited it to 5 per transaction. So there are some limits in effect. Now, aside from that, moving on to kind of a similar product in terms of prospects. 2022 Topps Pro debut released last week. And I can't think of a product, Joel, that you probably would be less interested in.
I cannot even look at it.
But, so this product, if you're not familiar with Pro Debut, it is, as the name states, supposed to depict minor league players in their pro debut year. So they are prospect cards. A lot of guys that are already in Bowman, but there are guys that aren't in Bowman yet. So there are angles there where certain guys' autographs, because they don't have a Bowman Chrome Auto yet, out of these products can be kind of valuable for a while. There are 2 formats. There's a hobby and jumbo format. I prefer the jumbo because the jumbo has Chrome cards. The hobby doesn't. And a jumbo box gives you 3 autos, plus Chrome cards with parallels. And this year they also introduced Chrome autos into the product. So you get all of that for $100 via Fanatics Direct or Topps Direct. And as of recording, they're still available. And I just personally think, like, if you're somebody that enjoys prospects in baseball, this is a great product. It's $100. Okay. So, like, yes, you can say, oh, well, none of the cards are going to be worth thousands of dollars. Correct. But guess what? You only paid $100 instead of paying $500 for Bowman Chrome, the one that could have the big hits, but you're ultimately going to be disappointed with. I personally broke a case of this pro debut in 2020. 2020. And I thought it was great. And I think the price point was definitely lower then, but my hottest take here is this is one of the few products that if this is a big if you're committed to selling these cards the right way, if you rip the case of this, you could actually make money on it.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's that many products like that exist, but it's grinding. It's like you're listing base cards and base lots, and it's not like, oh, I'm just going to hit one auto and be good. Like it's created for volume sellers. I think it's a product where if you really wanted to put in the work, you could make a little money on it.
Yeah, no, these products are tough to find. So this is a great one. I mean, Topps Heritage has always been a product, or used to be before the price went up, where a product where you could break it, piece it out. Ginter was one of these types of sets. Pro Debut is a good example where, I mean, people wanted a product. You hear people complaining all the time saying, like, I can't afford to be in the hobby. It's just too much. My kids are not having fun.
Yep.
This is $100. You can get autographs. There's a whole slew of things in here that you could find. Like, sometimes you have to switch directions a little bit if you just want to participate and have fun. And Topps is doing a good job of putting some things in here that are interesting.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. And to go back to your point about people saying, oh, I can't afford this or whatever, like my kid wants X. I always find that interesting. It's like, does your kid really need the Prism? Like, I mean, that's great. Like, if you can afford Prism for your kid, that's awesome. You're doing them a solid, but like, pretty sure your kid would be happy with like whatever NBA licensed product you can give them, whether it's Hoops, Chronicles, but it's, yeah, I think this like totally scratches the collector itch, the prospecting itch, much lower price point. If you do feel like you got a really bad box, you might be out $70, $60 or something. Like it's just, it's something that I wanted to highlight because like, I think there's a lot of discussion about, the high end, the mid end. And to me, this is a nice product. I actually wish I was more on top of it because I would have thought about getting another case this year just because if I could have got one at like $700, which is an 8-box case, I probably would have, but definitely not the top of the line, interesting, flashy, national treasures, Bowman Chrome, whatever. But I do think there's opportunities still out there. And I personally think the wax market is going to continue to get softer. So hopefully those days where you can rip some of the nicer products and not feel dirty afterward are coming.
Here's the kicker in it all. When prices were lower, I ripped it and I still felt dirty. So guess what? Because the prices of the singles just go along with it. I mean, I know we're kind of out of whack right now, but in general, if wax comes down, the singles will come down too, and you'll still feel like you got crushed every now and again between the big hits. But I mean, talk about value though. Like Topps Pro Debut is a great one if you want the new stuff, but if you can find this stuff at $50-$60 now, I mean, it may be tough at this point, but I mean, look at this stuff. This is a great value for 7 packs. If you can find this at retail at the $50 level, I mean, I think it was like a no-brainer. I'm happy I got some. So definitely a recommend if anyone's able to find any.
Yeah, they definitely have a good shine to it. Okay, to finish off this segment on new product releases, same price point, Jumbo Box, Pro Debut, NBA G League. They're both $100. Which one are you buying?
to me, it's a no contest in my G League. Like, not even like, I don't even have to think.
We don't even have mock-ups of these cards, and you're like, yeah, I'm in. They could look bad.
They could look like straight up like paper with like a sticker auto, and I think I still choose it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna hopefully we get some mock-ups. Panini, we're 2 days out. Come on, help us out here.
They're like, it's $100. You better just buy it. They're like, you can't even see it.
Yeah, exactly.
This thing is so cheap. We can't even take the time to put a picture out.
We're doing you guys a solid. Yeah. But, no, that's about it, and that is all we have really for our episode tonight. We aren't going to do a longer conversation tonight. I think we have sufficient content already, and we are going to get into a longer form conversation about the NBA next week. Joel, do you have anything else to close out the episode? Anything you're thinking about or just want to note before we get off?
No, I think I thought the length of this one was actually pretty decent. I'm good with it without a long form conversation tonight.
Yeah, I am too. I got you talking about Topps Pro Debut baseball, so that's a big win. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. This was episode 7. Again, please give us some likes and subscribe on YouTube. Shoot us a comment. Tell us how stupid we are for thinking the G League product might be good, or if Topps Pro Debut could be a profitable product. Whatever you want. Just let us know what you think, and we will see you next week.